We have Valmonica for you today. Some Raid Raptor, some Tenpai good stuff, and is that some Horus control as well? Wow. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. How many times am I going to get the chance to see Valmonica out here? There's been a pretty major, I would say, resurgence of this deck, maybe just kind of touching down in the meta as people are looking at options to kind of test out the waters for the meta. Now, I will say there are some interesting things about this list that I have not actually seen other people trying to do yet, and that one of these is the Damage Juggler with the Trick Clown package. Actually, I have not seen a single list trying to do this yet. I mean, obviously having the Trick Clown be a free extender for the deck, just to put another little spellcaster on the field so you can kind of do your thing, is actually pretty good. Do keep in mind, the way that this deck plays is so very interesting in my personal opinion. We are doing the triple Inverteray, the triple Skeletia. You do see 2 Verserae, which I think is pretty standard, and then the 1 copy of the Dismarnia. And then, of course, the 1 Chosen Melody with the 1 Followed Rhyme. These are all fine in terms of ratios. You are doing a 3-3 split on the scales. Absolutely going to stick to those ratios. And, of course, the best card in the deck, honestly, is the Celtrice Valmonica. This card does everything that you need to see. I also do like the fact that this deck actually gets the chance to play the Sorcerer of Sebek. This is one of those cards that you look at in the genuine course of the game and you're like, hey, you know, free life point gain, free burn, you know, we'll take that for what it is. We're also only playing 1 copy of the Dalume and then triple copies of the Zerfara here. I still think making these is kind of ridiculously hard, but let's be honest here. Link 1s with big attack points, go burr. That's all you really need to see. I also see this is freaking hilarious. We actually get access to make totally awesome down here to kind of turbo on out a Toad as well. Yeah, we've reached that point of the little things that you can actually do. Thank you, deck. Next up is Dragon Ruler. Yeah, actually, this is just kind of Rocket Dragon Link. Just splashing in, you know, the Tenpai Dragon stuff. For those of you that, like, still know and understand, you know, if we had more of the Dragon Link package available to us, or something like Baron de Fleur, I think or a Borreload Savage, this would have been a viably scary deck in the TCG. You would have had people out here, you know, using Fadra and friends to basically make this Dragon Link stuff into a lot crazier of a deck. And that's necessarily not happening right now because of the loss of Borreload Savage and the loss of Baron de Fleur. Taking away those Omni Negates has put this deck in a little bit more interesting of a position. It's not to say that, you know, this isn't, you know, the modern era Dragon Link, because it kind of is. You know, you just see one piece of this stuff and you just OTK your opponent on into a different dimension out here. But because you also have access to the Rocket Dragon Link package down here, you can see things like Striker Dragon be what they used to be in the decks as these little combo extension pieces, so you can do your thing. The only thing that's really changed here is, instead of going for the negate side of things, you basically have way more push and then a little bit more stable of a going first board along the way. I mean, you know, Spheres also making a Borreload Dragon. Borreload Dragon's kind of stupid, like, honestly. Even though it's not the most unoutable boss monster in the world, it's definitely a lot easier to handle than it was the last couple of formats, so that's good. I also see, hey look, Phantasmes. Yes, free dragons. Outside of that, I do like this. I wish Dragon Link was a little bit more viable around the way. I do hope that we do see more people kind of pick this up and experiment with this, though. This is kind of cool. All right, ooh, we have some Raid Raptors for you today. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you about Raid Raptors that we've been seeing out here, honestly, the last successful build, I think, out of the last week was the Duo King Kali Yuga build. So many people were heading away from the Duo King Kali Yuga build, but, like, having that negate floodgate effect that you can put on your opponent just kind of ensures that you can kind of get the game through and do your job. Like, you do have to appreciate the fact that, you know, having that is so good. But this build's not even dedicating any slots to Kali King Yuga. I think one of the biggest things that this deck has going for it is just the fact you put these huge monsters on the field. and it just puts your opponent into such a bad position. Ugh. One other interesting thing in here is, hello Raid Raptor and the Palm. Gotta love the fact, free 600 burn. We're also side decking the Grave of the Super Ancient Organisms in here. You basically need to make sure that you can have your floodgates present so you can, clean up the game and do your part. I also will say, these hand trap ratios, because they're playing cross out, I like the fact that, you have the 2 Drolls, the 1 Veiler, the 1 Mourner, the 1 Ghost Ogre, and then 2 copies of the Space Rock in here along with the Triple Ash, but you're still maximizing on the Triple Imperm. And of course, they do side the 1 Shifter. I will tell you 150% that Shifter is a very, very bad boy. This card ruins days, and you need this card in order to kind of be the anti-meta approach for this deck, because if you don't have this card, you're going to have a very, very, very bad day. That is all that there is to it at this point. So, interesting takes on the development side of the meta. Hello, Raid Raptor, good stuff. I'm so happy to see that you're still doing well out here. Now, we have a Horus control deck for you today, and the first thing you're going to just have your eyes drawn into is they're really playing a copy of Metal Foes Fusion in this. I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of like the idea behind this, honestly. Being able to have the Metal Foes Fusion be a recyclable resource that, you can obviously toss off of, one of these, the Gold Sarcophagus. Oh, hey, look, I'll tuck it on back, draw a free card. That's free, all right? There should never be a time where this card is that. You can even chuck it off of our friend here if you really need to. Alright, that's all that really matters, is the fact that, you'll be able to use this as a resource to tuck back in the deck. And maybe, maybe you banish it off Desires. Oh well, one less resource wasted along the way. Now this deck is a very strong anti-meta deck because they've got the Gravekeeper's Inscriptions built on into the main deck here. They want to make sure that if their opponent is attempting to do anything degenerate, nope, we're not having that. I will also say we are doing the Fenrir stuff with the Rise Heart in here, with the G-Golem Crystal Heart on in to the Heat Soul. I mean, okay, we've really reached the point out here that you're using these multi-engine aspects to these decks to make sure that you can basically take advantage, put monsters on the field consistently, and do your thing. I also see we are side decking the Secret Village as well. Well, I guess, we are playing anti-meta. It's very important to make sure that, anything that your opponent might be trying to do, you can check very easily. Also, Garunix, I think a lot of people kind of forgot Garunix is a very good generic rank 8 as well. This card's entire purpose is to put pressure on your opponent so you can kind of do your thing. But outside of that, wow, really, really interesting stuff for what you're seeing here. Our last list here is a pretty basic Silent Voice deck. This was the 4th list out of the first 3's tournament, and it's not all that surprising to see that kind of old basic is kind of doing its thing. Your tech choices for these builds kind of are pretty straightforward. I mean, you decide on, am I going to play the Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph? Yes or no, going down the checklist. Obviously, you're probably going to say no, but most builds can have this for the free spell negate, which is actually pretty decent. You do have, of course, the 2 copies of this, still playing this, maximizing at 42 cards. We are still doing the 2 Sarvis with this, which I find that a little bit interesting. We are side decking the Bells and the Ogres, standard hand trap stuff, and of course the anti-spell fragrance as the one of, much like the lawnmower outside here, as you get ready to go clear the grass of the competition with this. Also, why is this here? Why have we dedicated a slot to the Trap Trick Sarah? Well, I think it does kind of prove out here that there are some insane ideas that I guess that you can just shove into your extra deck, look at and go, yeah, this will be okay. And of course, the 2 Dynamondo. I'm still happy to see the Dynamondo sticking around out here as a tool for this. And don't underestimate the Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. This card is actually kind of insane. Well, that's everything that we have for these decks. What do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I will say, very, very interesting to see the change in the meta. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right? Peace out. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.